So I have wanted to talk about this for about 2 years now. Ever since I started testosterone and realized that this was still a problem. But I wanted to wait until after my hysterectomy was done in order to talk about it, just to see what would actually happen. And so basically, I'm just going to talk about my menstrual cycle because everywhere you read it tells you when you go on testosterone, your menstrual cycle stops. And that was one of the things on the top of the list of reasons why I really wanted to start testosterone was so my menstrual cycle would stop. And by some cruel fate, testosterone made mine worse. So not only did it not stop it, but it made it come in heavier, and it also made it come in more often. So before testosterone, um, I started T when I was 17. I started my menstrual cycle right after my 12th birthday. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 5 years. For 5 years, it never came a day late or early ever. It was always 28 days exactly. It lasted exactly 5 days. That was it. Um, and so I always knew when it was coming and it was fine. Testosterone made it so that it came every 23 days, and it made it come in much heavier. Like it just usually it was like first 2 days are regular whatever, and then the next 3 days were nowhere near as bad. But this would make it so that it was up throughout all 5 days was pretty, like it made it more equal, so that it wasn't like the last 3 days were kind of like it tapering off. It made it so that it was just like a steady thing happening for all 5 days. Um, and then it would like taper off for like the sixth day or whatever. Um, and so when I first started testosterone, I got really excited and I was like, okay, sweet, I only have a couple more months of this maybe. Most people within the first 6 months, and that's what doctors tell you, within the first 6 months, your menstrual cycle should stop. And so I was, patient. I was like, okay, whatever, it's still here. Um, and then it started coming more frequently than it was supposed to, and I was like, okay, maybe it's just trying to get the last bit of it out before it stops, and that wasn't the case because it started coming like a day early, and then it came like 3 days early to the point where it was coming a week early, and it continued to do that until I had my hysterectomy. Um, so it got to the point where I was just like, I don't like I had no hope for it anymore because I every time I got my hopes up, like every time it left, I was like, okay, like that has to be the last time. There's no way it's coming back. And then it would always come back, and it was so frustrating and so disheartening because every time I went to the endocrinologist and told him like it's still here, and he's like, okay, well up your dose. And I got super excited every time my dose went up because I thought, okay, this is it. It's gonna go now, and it just didn't, and it kept coming, and it was frustrating because I didn't want my dose to keep going up. I didn't want it to go up anymore because I didn't want to have to pay more, and my testosterone levels are fine. They're at a healthy level, so I didn't want to be injecting too much testosterone for my weight and everything. Like I didn't want to have to be doing that, and it was so frustrating to me that as far as I could tell, I'm like the only person I could find who this was happening to. And all these guys that started T like over a year after me, like all my friends, like they start testosterone and they started, celebrate. They're like, oh my god, my menstrual cycle's gone. And this isn't something that I really talked about either. I never brought it up with people, um, because it was embarrassing to me that I was still getting it, and it was frustrating. And so every time, like one of my friends was like, "Oh, my menstrual cycle stopped," I'd be like, "Oh, that's so great," and like I knew there was an assumption that mine had stopped a long time ago, and it just didn't, and it was still coming, and it was so irritating to me that I was still getting it and nobody else was. And it was like, because especially since it was one of the things, like it was easily the top, in the top three things that testosterone was supposed to do, that I was super excited about. And to be over 2 years on testosterone and still have it happening was extremely disheartening. So that's why I wanted to speed up the hysterectomy. I mean, I wanted a hysterectomy since I was 12 years old. I looked it up and went, I'm going to get that as soon as I'm allowed to. And, you know, a part of me, like, I do kind of believe that things happen for a reason. And a part of me has to believe that the reason it stayed was so that I would just get the hysterectomy over with, instead of it going away and me forgetting that I even had a uterus, and just living my life until maybe something went wrong, or until one day I remember, like, oh shoot, I still need to have a hysterectomy, because I have always wanted one and to get it done. But I feel like if my menstrual cycle had stopped, then I would have put it off longer. Um, so I don't know, maybe there's a reason. Because the cruel thing is, and this seems to happen to me a lot, things like this. So I had my menstrual cycle, never even showed any signs of stopping. I go and have the consultation with the surgeon for my hysterectomy. My menstrual cycle came 12 days before that appointment, because I had to write it on the sheet, the intake form, when my last cycle was. Came 12 days before that. It was to come uh, like a week and a half or whatever later, by the 23-day thing bullshit that was happening to me. And I waited and I waited and it never came. My dose didn't go up at all. Nothing changed except for the fact that I had that consultation. And I had a surgery date. So literally, I get a surgery date for my hysterectomy, and my body goes, okay, we don't need to give you your menstrual cycle anymore. And so for the 2 months, the 2.5 months between the consultation and my surgery date, I didn't have my menstrual cycle anymore. Not even a hint of it at all. Like, it was gone. And it had showed no signs of slowing down before that. So I think someone hates me. Like, I really, I'm not a religious person. I, but like when things like that happen to me, like I really think that someone's laughing at me, because that is crazy. Like, why did that happen? And I'm grateful it happened, because I didn't have to deal with my menstrual cycle for 2.5 months before surgery. And I was really scared about having it, like, on the surgery date. I was like, oh my god, what's going to happen if I'm on my menstrual cycle while I have to go in for surgery? And, but, like, it just went away completely, which is weird. And then after surgery, from what I've seen, most people only bleed for a few days. I bled for 4 weeks. So, um, I guess that was, I don't know, payback for the 2.5 months that I didn't have to deal with it. But um, anyway, it's done now. It's all gone. It will never ever come again. And I just really have been waiting to share this, because yeah, I was very excited to start testosterone, thinking it was going to go away, and it didn't. And I think that, I'm not saying for people who are going to start T and whatever, that you shouldn't get your hopes up that it's going to go away, because clearly from what you see, majority of the time it does go away. For me, it never went away. So, um, yeah, just wanted to make sure that that people know that it's not a guarantee. Um, yeah, testosterone is not magic. It doesn't get rid of all of your problems. and it works different for everyone. So it worked different for me, and unfortunately, that's just the way it worked. But I'm like a month and a half post-op now, and I feel great. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, video topics, anything like that, leave them down below or message me. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for watching. See ya.